Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Talk No Close. Yes, I still can't say the name of the podcast, but we keep going. My name is Ryan, and each episode I hope to bring you fantastic and inspiring guests and even better discussions. This is a podcast by Unveiled Appeal, talking all things normalising nudity, naturism, and body positivity. In this episode, I am joined by Kerry Kott, who I think it's safe to say likes to promote the benefits of nudity and the benefits of being in nature. She's also a nude nature photographer. She's an advocate, of course, and she's even a physician of Chinese medicine. But whether she considers herself a stand-up comedian, I'll let her decide. Welcome, Kerry, to the podcast.
Thank you, Ryan. And just a little correction there. My last name is pronounced Kott, so it's Kerry Kott.
Sorry, my
All
mistake.
good. All good.
My mistake. Me and pronunciations, Kerry. The people that watch and listen to this podcast will know. It's lucky I can speak sometimes.
Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast anyway.
Thank you,
Kerry.
thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you on because we've been trying to do this for quite a while, but we finally got there.
Yay,
Busy
we're
life.
here.
Yeah. Anyway, Kerry, I start the podcast with this question with all my guests because this is how I like to start the podcast. So, would you consider yourself body confident or body positive yourself?
Would I consider myself body confident and body positive myself? Like meaning how I relate to my own body?
Yes.
See myself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say often. Not always. No.
Yeah.
And more and more. And yeah, I still have plenty of different edges that I lean into with my body and different things that are present for me that also the way that I look at the body is it's a reflection. So if there's something about my body that I'm judging, like what's really going on there for me? And when I feel more alive in my body and more connected, stuff about my body isn't in the forefront of my awareness. But if there's something I'm dealing with, I see that reflected.
I mean, every time I ask that question, I get loads of different answers. That's why I love to start with it.
Yeah, it's a good question.
So, what was it like? So, what was it like personally for you, like growing up and stuff with your family, like body positive or not so much?
Yeah, I don't really know if that there wasn't an intentional conversation in my family that at least I remember. It's so like I'm literally just like, let me think about that. Like, can I find something? Now, I will say the conversation about our bodies is always alive, whether or not we're like intentionally talking about it. So there's definitely things that I've picked up about my body. One of the things that I will share though is that since I've been like doing this work and sharing this medicine, I had a conversation with my mom. My mom shared something with me, and she remembers a time when I don't even remember if she said I was an age, but I was much younger, maybe I was somewhere like 8 or 10 or something. And she walked by my room and I was looking at myself naked in the mirror. And she said, "Kerry, what are you doing?" And she was like, "Do you remember that?" And I was like, "No, I don't remember that." But it was this conversation bringing to light. And I just think about like how many moments, like that moment clearly must have impacted me in some way, shape, or form, that like to look and to see myself in this way, like even just like the way my mom shared her tone, like, "What are you doing?" There's like this energy of like, that's not okay, or something's wrong, or like, "Oh, I'm not sure about this," or like, and so like how many moments must I have had like that, and my mom reflecting that to me. In my family itself, I don't recall any like comments about like my body per se, but I don't really remember. So, I mean, it wasn't like there was not much conversation that I'm aware of that was intentional about my body, or body positivity, or being a human and we have these bodies.
So you work now, like with nudity and like medicine and nature. What was it? What was it that started all of this for you?
Yeah, what started all of it for me? I would say, it's interesting when you ask the question. I just think about being a child, growing up in the woods, the wilderness, having access to nature. I would say that that was like that was a foundation. And even when I was a child, it wasn't nature. It was like, this is like a part of life. And the nudity aspect, so the nature, like our natural world, has just like, I just like birthed into it. So that from foundational experience. And then the nudity aspect was actually when I was going to a bondage class with one of my partners, and we are invited to be naked, especially when we were working with rope, and most women's bras have underwires and things, and that's like a big no-no. Like, you could puncture yourself. So I went to the first class, and I got topless there, and I left that experience feeling like, oh my gosh, I want more of this. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I want more of this because blah, blah, blah. But it was because I was in a non-sexual environment. It was a class, it was a teaching space, it was a learning space, and my autonomy in my body was safe from unwanted touch. And having experiences of sexual trespass, that was really healing and opening. And so I would say that that point was this like pivotal point of this opening up for me, because I was just like, wow, I want more of this.
It's so interesting that first experiences is is I can speak from like a naturism point of view, but like first experiences, especially for females, as soon as they realize that when everybody is nude and they're not getting uh, unwanted attention, shall we say, there's a bit of a realization and a freedom of this is okay, I feel safe, and that's the bit that people want to experience more, the feeling of being free but also safe. Is 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 that what you meant by that was what you wanted more of, the feeling of being free and safe in that environment?
Yeah, in that moment, it wasn't necessarily that language, but as I looked at it, so I felt safe. I definitely felt safe, and that being a really important piece. And, um, especially for women, that's something that we are like constantly thinking about is our safety. It's like we're just biologically programmed for that. And so, and also for me, it was really important to have the non-sexual piece in there. But it was an intentional space that I went into. And so that's where I've actually found most of my freedom when it comes to being naked. So like as long as there's been those containers, that's helped me to expand in my own nudity exploration and being outside and connecting with the earth. And because being naked isn't inherently sexual. And so for me, it's like I want to be naked and be in my body and feel safe. And I want to feel safe in my body, regardless if I have clothes on. Like,
Yeah,
and since there's such a collapse with sexuality and sex and nudity, it's definitely important for that. And so when I create spaces for women, that's the thing that's most important is making sure that we're clear about the boundaries
yeah,
and that women feel safe because this is it feels vulnerable. But through my journey, as I've gotten more in my body, like my safety belongs here inside of me. And as I've continued to explore and expand and also tend to, the sexual trespass, there's like still layers. Maybe until the day I die, there'll be a new layer of coming home to myself. So as I've done more of that work, I can lean into and I can show up in new environments um, because I have access to more of that within myself. Nude beaches, it's interesting. Like they're not an intentional container, though you might think like, oh, it's a nude beach. Everybody's here to just be naked. Well, no, that's actually not the case. I've had experiences where not everybody's just there to be naked.
yeah. Maybe my wording of that last question wasn't spot on, but it's, it upsets me as a male that females are programmed to worry about their safety as much as much as they do, and as much as I don't know how best, but it basically upsets me that we're at a point where I don't think I need. How do I put this? I don't know. It just when when I hear that women especially are being programmed to worry about their safety when they can't just be themselves and enjoy life the way they want. That that is that is crazy to me. Like anyway,
Yeah, I hear you in that. I hear
yeah,
that it's crazy, it's frustrating, it's upsetting, and I also hear that like I think for men it's really hard to comprehend that because as a man, it's not something you think about,
yeah.
you know.
That's exactly.
It's like totally not even in your awareness as something for
No,
you.
no, like yeah. I'm not as aware as often as I think I probably should be aware that some. I don't know how best to word things, but I probably don't think about my safety as much as what you would in a certain type of scenario. Like, I try my best to help if and when I can to, like, alleviate any stress or whatever. But it's mind boggling to me that even just even the bit that struck me in your answer was when you said that it was the word programmed. That was the bit that got me. I'm like, it's like it's the feeling of safety. Like, it's like, even in naturist species, the fact that females expect to have the defenses up at all times, and they can't. I don't know. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. But I need to think about that more. I think it's
Yeah. I would also say there's a distinction between also programmed and biological, because it's a biological experience for women. And if you think about like the hunter gatherer, the masculine, the feminine,
yeah.
like women are typically, now this is not like a women are less than conversation. I just
No,
want to
no,
be
no,
clear about this,
no.
but like women are typically smaller and weaker, and because of estrogen in our bodies, and testosterone in male bodies is
Yeah,
usually stronger and bigger and faster. And so that's usually why the parts of men of protecting are naturally there, because there's something to protect, and that's just like a biological of the yin and the yang of life. And so I think at least for me, when I continued to learn more about biology of like what it means to be me as a woman, it was so like, aha, oh my gosh. And there was like an acknowledgement of my experience as I was learning about these things. And when we can acknowledge, like, okay, this is just something that's here for me, and I can acknowledge it, we can have more access to tending to it, and even using our voices to say, hey, I need some things. Or we can ask questions. Like if I was to go to an event and everybody was going to be naked there, I would have some questions to ask about that. If I'm going to the first time I went to a naturist community, I had some questions about that, because I wanted to make sure that I felt safe to show up, because I was going there by myself. So it gives us, I think it can give us access. It's just an acknowledgement of like, this is just something that's here. And then once we do that, we can get freed up around that, and we can be mindful of it.
yeah,
And like I said, it's allowed me to have access to ask questions that I need to ask, and to also trust my intuition. So if a space doesn't feel safe, and there are things in place in a lot of these places, like there's a nudist beach in Florida called Blind Creek, and they have ambassadors, which are really great. And I remember meeting them, and they're like, hey, when you come here, if you want to come and like be by us, if that helps you, then you can do that. It was really great to have that.
awesome. Yeah, I, I, I don't know if I kind of went off on one, but yeah, it just it it was it kind of it personally like frustrates me that not everybody is like I believe that people should be allowed to live the life how they want to live it, as long as their intention isn't to cause stress or hurt to somebody else. And the fact that at some points, like, I just want everybody to be on an even playing field. That's just me, but I get it's not always like that, and it just frustrates me that things like this still need to be like acknowledged and taken into consideration by people. Just it's something for me to think about more. I think because I probably should be a lot more aware than I I am possibly. Anyway, I keep going off on tangents when I do these episodes. I don't know why.
That's where we need to go then, you know?
Yeah.
This is an important part of the conversation, and it's important to bring it to light and to talk about it, because this isn't necessary. I mean, it is alive in conversations in many places and within many people. And, you know, I just want to acknowledge when you don't have that personal experience, it's, you know, you as a man, you're not biologically programmed, you know, like that's just not what's there for you. So why would that be in your awareness? And so having this conversation can bring that to light.
Yeah. That yeah. And in a way, like I believe everything happens for a reason, right? So if the conversation wasn't supposed to go here, it wouldn't have went here, right? But the fact that it has means that one, we were supposed to have this conversation. Two, it's now in the forefront of my mind to go and ask and make myself aware, and because I myself would want to get better at these situations to understand what it's like for everybody, and because it gives me a bigger picture to try and understand that it's not. I get that life and experiences aren't the same for everybody. I get that, right? But it's. I feel that we're in kind of a chaotic world right now, and I just want to leave the world in a better place. So I'm just trying to do this podcast, bring a variety of people, talk about the experiences, talk about topics like we have, and just try and make people aware to try and have a domino effect that people watching this or listen to this on podcast platforms. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and leave us a review. That we have a domino effect, and we talk about this, and then other people talk about this, and then things just slowly get better. I mean, for every bit of good that we do, there's always someone trying to wreck the fun in the party for everybody else. But that's another conversation as well, right? So, back to scheduled programming. But it's obviously a conversation that had to happen because now, now my mind has exploded because I've just went off on a tangent, and now I'm so like, yeah, I don't even know where to go. I'll be honest, I don't even know where to go from here now.
Well, you know, I have a couple of things popping in for me.
Go, Kerry. Save the podcast. Please.
Podcast.
Save the podcast, Kerry. Please.
Well, Oh, that's amazing, Ryan.
Right. Kerry is now the host of the All Talk No Clothes podcast. Take it, Kerry.
Okay. So, just in the lines of this topic and what we're talking about, there's like there's three things. One, I think about when I do events with women, one of the boundaries and communications I always communicate is there's a no sex boundary. And even though that might seem obvious, or I would think that would be obvious, I communicate it so that it's really clear. And also
because it's not obvious to everybody, right?
Right. And to communicate it. So knowing that, oh, hey, by the way, this is something that's acknowledged here. And it's intentionally a non-sexual space. That does not mean sexuality and sexual energy is not welcome, because it is. It's just, this is the boundary of no sex in this space. And then, just even thinking about like being a woman, I remember, the experience of women and naturism and nudity, and how there's like way less women who are showing up into these environments and, just talking about safety and everything. I remember one of my first events that I did with women, and one of the women shared with me that that was her first time ever being naked where she wasn't having sex. And it's like, wow, that's like a really big deal. And the third piece here was I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was sharing with him about, he was asking me questions about this medicine. And I shared with him that story, and he just was like, oh my gosh, that's why my wife just wants to be naked when she's naked. And it's like, women want to be like sexualized by their partners I know, right? Boom. Women want to be sexualized and feel sexy with their partners. And they also want to be naked and to not be like groped and grabbed at. And so even in relationships, having this space for women to just be naked is really healing for one. It also encourages her feeling safer with her partner, and it actually opens the doorway for more intimacy because there's an honoring of her body. And it's also like read the room, It's like read the room. I think women are more attuned to certain types of emotional energies, but like like you got something to say, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, the podcast has been saved. It is the big. I can. I've got something good to say for a change. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, strap yourselves in, because Ryan's got something useful to say. Yeah. The biggest thing is intention. Right? There's a time and a place for things. And me and my partner, there's a difference. I am in the nude most of the time. And there's a difference because it's all about intention. If you intend to think about, how do I put this? If you intend to think sexually, then things will go in a sexual direction. If you intend to just live life and be as you want, you live life and be as you want. That made sense, right? Because I basically wasn't to say that, and now I don't know if it makes sense. Great. I think it makes sense. Oh, I wrecked the place. Yeah, it's all about intention. If people know that an event or a retreat or whatever it is like non-sexual nudity or like if people know what the intentions of the event are, whether it's body positivity, whether it's sex related, then I think intention's the important thing. I think. I don't know how best to put this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because all the energy follows our intention.
If and it depends how much people anchor their events and whatever to these intentions. So, for example, I would make an event that's intentionally naturism based, non-sexual, body positivity, and that's what people should expect. Nobody should turn up to that event assuming that it's just a, a, a like if I anchor my event to those, I wouldn't. Would you call them values? I don't know. Then that's what people should expect, and it shouldn't like the event shouldn't derail itself from that. If that makes
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it does. I think it has something to do with integrity, like being in
yeah,
integrity of what
that's
it
the word
is.
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what and what it is and what it isn't, and like the integrity of this space, honoring. And I also have it that it's also about letting people know up front. One of the things
yeah,
for me that is so frustrating is when there's like so vague and I'm like, okay, I don't really fully feel clear about what this is and what this isn't. And so I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm really successful at it, I'm not sure, but like
transparency.
transparency and being transparent in like what this is and what this isn't so that it can help people um make decisions about whether this works for them or not, whether this is something that they want to experience or not. And like how shitty would that be to come to an event where it's advertised as being non-sexual and then you get there
Yeah,
and then like there's like leaky boundaries and people are having sex and
yeah.
also sidebar, it's not that sex is wrong or bad or
No,
nudity is wrong or bad. It's just
but
about being
there's
clear about what is and isn't happening
yeah.
and
What is it
available.
time for? It's time for
Right.
this, or it's time for that.
Right. And also,
There is a line, there is a boundary, the, and the bound if an event or whatever is transparent and it's upfront and this is what you should expect, then it's already in its own little box, and the lid should not be open for anything else. Like, yeah, just pick a lane and stick to it. That's the best way to put it, though, isn't it? It's like if you're driving on the freeway or the motorway here in the UK and you intend to go to a place, then you pick that lane and you go to that place. Same as
yeah.
with same as with events, same as with retreats. Like it's the same as like concerts or whatever, right? If you want to go and see a particular band, you know the type of music that you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems
If
obvious,
I go to
right?
one, well, I wouldn't, because Kerry's events are for women, right? But if I went to a Kerry event at some point down the line and Kerry tells me exactly what the event is, then that's what the event's going to be. I don't see how someone can turn up to an event if the event's being completely transparent and expect something else.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what I'm just realizing, Ryan, is that I would assume that going to a nude beach would mean that it's non-sexual, but nowhere does it note that the nude beach is non-sexual, does it? Do nude beaches declare that, because
I mean, they should. maybe sounds like there's a new campaign starting now, doesn't it?
I know, right? Like they should have like a disclaimer,
I mean,
non-sexual nudity.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
because
this
there's
started as a
usually like
podcast, but watch
rules.
this space.
Yeah.
This started as a podcast, but watch this space. Seriously, if someone wants to jump in the bandwagon and pretend it was their idea, by all means, just tag Kerry and I in any post, and we'll share it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also like to add, Ryan, that currently my in-person events are for women, and
Yeah,
I do have an online space for all genders, all bodies, and
see,
I currently have all women in person because that's what has me feel the safest, and I know
yeah,
that I can hold that container. Um,
yeah.
so that's just what's so right now. So there is a space that I am holding. It just happens to be virtual, and it still has boundaries.
Again, and again. I don't know how I manage it, right? But I start off trying to speak and possibly saying the wrong thing, and it ends up all right. So that is basically my podcast.
You're doing great.
Yeah. So time is running on for us. So because Kerry is very busy, and I'm trying not to keep her too long. But yeah, we've covered quite a lot in this episode already.
Yeah, we did.
This is going to be fun to edit. Edit? I don't edit. Yes, I do. Right. Imagine how long this podcast would be if I can't speak. Right. Okay. So, I mean, you do quite a lot, Kerry. I've realised this. Um, um, just by trying to come up with a structure for this episode that went completely out the window after I said something after 5 minutes. But anyway, so yeah, it's all about. It's now all about boundaries, transparency, and why the nude beaches not have a no sex symbol on the signs. Yes, that actually thinking about it now. You've now opened a can. I don't know if it's worms. I don't know what it is. You've sent X or Twitter into meltdown now. With naturists trying to work out why there's never been a symbol. Surely there's got to be a symbol somewhere. Surely in Germany they've got symbols.
Maybe there's also
I mean,
there could be something somewhere said there. I don't know.
I mean, this episode has already blew my mind about twice over, but now all I'm going to think about is why is there no
So maybe it's a can of brains you've blown. Opened up a can of brains.
Right. I'm thinking to myself, should I try and wrap this up? I don't know. How do I wrap this up? Basically, we come up with a plan before we hit record, and we've not stuck to it in the slightest. Here's a funny question that a certain helpful website gave me the other day. Oh, there's a cat. There's a cat behind Kerry now that's just come into shot.
Yeah.
Now nobody's interested in what I'm going to say. Great. No. Yeah, interesting, right? Because this made me laugh, right? I don't know how anybody would answer it, but if an item of clothing could speak, what do you think it might say?
If a what could speak?
If an item of clothing could speak, what do you think it would say?
I still don't I don't understand.
If a piece of
Oh, a piece of an item. Okay, I get it.
Could speak, what might it say?
Well, I think this is a great way to wrap it up.
Yes.
That might be what a piece of clothing would say. This is a good way to wrap it up.
See, I said she was going to save this episode. I said she was going to save this podcast.
Well, and maybe it's maybe I am a bit of a comedian.
I said it at the beginning of the episode.
I know.
I'm a genius.
You're genius.
Maybe that's what a pair of denim jeans would say. I'm a genius. I mean, I should just retire now. I'm not going to say anything better in this microphone.
I seriously love that. I love that question. If an item of clothing were to speak, what would it say?
What would it say? Yes. I think I would get a different answer from each guest. I think I'm going to keep that in now.
Yeah, I think it's really great.
People watching, I mean, you've definitely enjoyed this episode. I mean, or if you're listening on podcast platforms, hello, I've not forgotten about you. Please follow me at the All Talk No Clothes podcast and follow Kerry. All her links will be in the episode notes or the description of this video. If you're watching on the YouTubes, please like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. Thank you, Kerry, for basically saving my podcast.
No problem whatsoever, Ryan. I will say I do have an answer to that question. Yeah, wrap it up was there, but what popped in for me was if a piece of item clothing would have something to say, it would say, "Thank you for letting me feel your breast." That's what my sweatshirt would say right now.
I mean, I asked this question for the first time today, and I was expecting some sort of answer of that context. And you've passed the assignment, right?
Ding.
Thank you very much, Kerry.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been All Talk No Clothes. Stay happy. And yeah, it's warm here, so probably stay naked. Thank you. Goodbye. You can find us in video format on YouTube at youtube.com/alltalknoclothes and on Spotify and Apple Podcast at the All Talk No Clothes Podcast.